Good evening. You're listening live to the Xtreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob. My guest tonight, as always, is the real Dr. V. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am a B plus and rising, sir. So, tonight's movie, Stripes, 1981, Bill Murray, John Candy, John Landis, I believe, and a host of other C-level Canadian actors that we're going to be talking tonight here on the Extreme Movie Show. So, Doctor, I've got to ask you because all kidding aside, we'll have to be having to talking some of the medical issues about this film. But when you think of military films, what first comes to mind?
If you were going for serious, I'd say more like Platoon, or if you want to go
This
Hollywood,
movie is
like,
not Platoon.
or if you want to go Hollywood where it's like they think they're being a great movie, you could go with what was the other one? They had was it Platoon? No, maybe it was Platoon. Yeah, maybe it was one I was talking about. I think yeah, the one that with the wasn't that with
Doctor, you sound like you're
Sean
off your
Penn.
meds now already.
I'll admit I'm a little buzz, but it's a good buzz, and I'm enjoying myself. So
Well, happiness is the best medicine, and the medicine that we need to discuss is the fact that this is a very, very early film from 1981, I believe. It's a buddy film. It's a comedy. It's kind of funny. It's kind of dated. I think watching it now, you'd be like, why was this funny? I don't get it. Oh, there's mud wrestling. That's always cool. You know, they did that in old school 15 years ago. God, and that sounds like a long time to say, but my goodness, this to me represents the SCTV, the Canadian group that people started doing in Chicago and New York and other places. A bunch of comedians that got together, and there's a Saturday Night Live connection with Bill Murray and others. But this one was a really funny movie at the time for what it was, being a comedy movie. And basically, it's a bunch of losers join the military so they can meet chicks and get a paycheck, sir. And let me ask you, does that offend you?
well, no, it does not offend me at all. I mean, in fact, it's just if the army was like this, a lot more people would have signed up, man. A lot more.
Okay,
I
so
mean, if they can let guys like John Candy in there and actually like make a good military soldier out of them, that's great, you know. But this is more like would you say more? It's more what was he Hogan's Heroes?
you know the problem I have with Hogan's Heroes, it was laugh tracks. So before we just kind of superficially dissect this and fist it, as Jay would say, let me say good evening. And we have somebody who showed up earlier today on Rob's Redskin Review, a new listener that I've just seen now twice for one day, that I'd like to call out Giant African Facefly. Name is phenomenal. So, Giant, when Jay shows up, we have a very special greeting for him. We call it the three bang salute. Assuming everything loaded right, we're going to hit that button right now, and you'll know exactly what that means because here we go.
Simon Connor! Bang! When it's all said and done, there can be only one. Bang!
If only they had diamond cutters in this movie, Stripes, it would have been so much funnier. Okay, I have to ask you, as the millennial in the group, had you seen this movie before?
Multiple times, and I own it. Actually got it for Christmas along with Caddyshack, and I
Caddyshack.
was and I think I was only like 15 at the time.
So this got into you when you were young.
Yes. Well, I mean, if you put it that way, it sounds kind of bad, but no, it's a great movie. I mean, I love this movie. It's one of I'd say about my top 10 Bill Murray movies. It's in there. It's about like maybe a four or three.
It's up there, and the thing that's surprising to me about Stripes is that just watching the movie by itself is its own experience. But the thing that I find interesting about it is, you know, you fast forward, gosh, almost 40 years to now with movies, and you look at some of the more popular comedies that are out there and buddy films, or the combination of it, you realize, hey, the Lethal Weapons are comedy buddy movies. You realize that these two people, John Candy, being the other guy in here, the main guy I like to think of, even though Harold Ramis is in there, I just, to me, John Candy just jumps out the screen at you. When
Or
I think of Bill
definitely.
Murray and John Candy, I think of Dumb and Dumber. And I just go, wow, the chemistry these guys have with each other is just phenomenal. And we talked about this before on the Extreme Movie Classic show, where we talked about what I consider to be the greatest comedy of all time in Young Frankenstein, the chemistry they all had. And it's definitely present here on this screen.
Definitely, yeah. You also forgot who's also in there too. The other big name that, if you don't really pay attention, is Judge Reinhold.
I don't know if Fast Times at Ridgemont High was out yet. That's where I knew him from, so that's a very good call out there. This would have been an earlier role for him as well, too. My
Yes, this
goodness.
is 1981. This is when his movie came out. So I think Fast Times came out afterwards. Was that closer to 83 or 84?
Yeah, Fast Times, yeah, like around 80, 83, I believe was the year 82, 83 for that. So yeah, this came out and then that one. Yeah, so to me, for this movie, okay, I had seen a few war films up to this point as a kid. Didn't quite get them all. I was into Chuck Norris films. We covered that on the Extreme movie show, the kicking it version, as we like to call it. And so to me, there was always this, especially in the early '80s, this very serious tone about war. Not just the fact that some of my teachers growing up were in World War II or even Korea. I even had literally one confirmed, and I think a second one that I suspect was actually, I'm trying to be very PC about this. He was somebody that survived a camp in World War II, is what I will say. And that was a known thing. It wasn't like a secret or anything. And it was just kind of like, you took all this stuff real seriously. Then this movie comes out, and it's like, it kind of threw me for a loop because it's funny, but having this background of war and Vietnam and everything, everyone taking it seriously, and family members I know that were in the military and people on the street, uh, the fact that they're kind of like slackers in this movie, it really, I didn't know what to make of it, but so I tried not to think of the
Well,
seriousness of war and all that, and
the
just
the
look at it as
way
a comedy film with war, going into the military.
I don't know about you, but I compare this be on par with Animal House.
I think Animal
Uh,
House is much better, but it's a similar kind of movie. Yeah.
it's sort of a situation, being yeah, a bunch of rejects, are in the army, and then they have to, like, after their sergeant, gets injured, they have to step up, and they have to, in order to graduate. So
It's true, it has a happy ending, and they've got the cute girls in there and everything too, but it's it's lighthearted. It's not very preachy or messagey to me. I don't think there's anything hidden about it, but you
uh,
don't really have to know a lot about war to really get what's going on here. If you just look at it for like, hey, these two guys are trying to figure out something out, and it's true, they're pretty much losers. And it's other than Cheech and Chong, which I saw, and the pot humor as a young kid was lost on me until I got to be a teenager and was like, oh, okay, that's what all their shtick is. For these guys, it's like I never had seen a film where the military is made fun of or anybody in the military is made fun of, and that's what I'm trying to say is that this movie kind of
yeah.
almost shocked me in a way because it was not like it at all, but I don't think it was disrespectful. I just think it was just a way to kind of present what's going on too. Um, Next year, I think it was in '82, a really good movie came out called Southern Comfort with Powers Booth and a few other people, and it's John Carradine and some others. We'll talk about later on. That's a favorite film of mine and Englentine from I Love Comics. Who would love to be here tonight? Something came up. He may not be able to be here, so I just want to let everybody know that. But in honor of E, let's go ahead and see if we can't summon the GIMP. So give me a moment before we continue.
Well, bring out the gimp.
So maybe it'll show, once the GIMP signal went up. But yeah, this movie, it goes quick. It's kind of silly. To me, the whole thing at the end, of course, the action to your point where they have to step up is kind of neat. It's kind of predictable, but that doesn't mean it's not enjoyable. You know what I mean?
Well, no, no, definitely. This Another notable actor in here that lets you really pay attention. Bill Paxton's in here too.
Oh, is he? Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yep. Bill Paxton. And then you also have the great Warren Oates, man, from the Wild Bunch.
Yeah,
Also played
that's
Dillinger.
true. That's true. Oh my God, you're absolutely right. My goodness. Yeah, well, here's the thing too that on the younger crowd listening, this was before. the wall came down, which divided East and West Germany. And not being a history buff or war buff, I will simply say that I recall specifically the time when Reagan was like, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down these walls, and it was a big deal. There was even a great spy movie called The Spy Who Came In From the Cold in the 60s about it that was very dark. And it's got the really great actor who drinks a lot, which narrows it down to about 100,000. But whose name escapes me. He was married to what's her face, the one that had been married like 10 times. But really great movie. And I thought, this is no Spy Who Came In From the Cold. I mean, this movie is just a dumb comedy. It's fun. It's lighthearted. It's not a big deal. It's about guys bonding. The loser thing's not really played up like kind of like the way it is today, where losers run everything, which is not realistic. This is just a couple people trying to make it work, and they do it. And to be honest, I don't know about your situation in the Midwest, but down here in the South, I knew many people that were really hardcore wanting to go in the Army, and I knew a bunch of people that when they were graduating went, man, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, so I'm just going to go to the Army, or the military, let's say, because they had no other path. So it's a real thing. I mean, it's nothing to knock, and you can definitely get something out of it, and of course, in a elaborate way, these guys do as well.
Yeah, just watching the opening credit or the opening introduction of this movie, you just see you don't like that's like the best scene for I was laughing so hard. It was just like him playing a taxi cab driver, and then the lady get these two guys get and they basically like they're like, oh, take us over here, and then they jump on, he runs after them, and they basically yeah, they ditched him without paying. So then here is a fancy, snobbish, rich lady. She's got all these like 6 or 7 different suitcases, and she wants to take. She's like wants him to take her to the airport, and she's like, "Be careful with my bags." And he goes to lift them up. He's basically, classic Bill Murray. He's like, "Oh, son of a bitch!" Like these are freaking heavy. He just lugs them into the thing, and she's like, "Be careful with those." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah. Why don't you load them yourself, then you?" He's just getting angry, scared of giving her an attitude, and give her a lip. He's like, it's like, so then he gets her, takes her to the airport. And he's like, and she's like, "Where are you going? It's the wrong way." He's like, "Well, maybe I take a different way. Maybe you don't know the ways."
You know who
She's
would have
like, "I
been
don't like it."
You know who would have been really good in this movie? I think he's one of the few actors alive today, and he's like a B-level guy that I think would have added to Bill Murray, John Candy, and Harold Ramis. It'd have been Champ Kind. I mean, it's like, so if you've seen Ron Burgundy and you've seen the Anchorman movies, Champion Kind, excuse me. He reminds me of almost like a John Candy these days. Not so much lovable, but just kind of goofy. And um, the thing that amazes me too is we had so many great comedies back in the 80s that we could watch in different types where it was lighthearted. And today there's, I think, very few of them that aren't overly gratuitous when it comes to, say, the violence that's in them or the type of humor that's in them. This is just a bit more guyish, kind of dumb humor. So, to your point, being kind of like some of those late 70s movies like Caddyshack, which is phenomenal, is an all-timer. And of course, anything by National Lampoon for the most part. Vacation was another great one that would be come out in a couple years with Chevy Chase. This movie's just fun. I mean, there's not much to say about it other than if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth a watch. It's definitely fun. If you want something goofy and you're a guy, you're gonna like it. I can't speak for the ladies in the audience if they would like it or not. I don't think it's overly sexist or anything. There's a mud wrestling scene in there where he's a mean green
Right.
fighting machine, but it's John Candy and he does fine. It's not too horrible. So yeah, I mean, when you think of Bill Murray and John Candy's movie because it's one of your favorites, is there anything now that watching as you're older that was different to you than when you were younger? Like, did you notice any changes?
uh, as far as John Candy, uh, I still don't like the one where he's a writer. You know what I'm talking about? The Harry Crumb. I can't still can't
Who's
say
Harry
his
Crumb? I like that one.
name.
Who's Harry Crumb?
I can't. It's just too much for me.
Well, what about Bill
uh,
Murray and the Man Who Knew Too Little? I like that one also.
that one was all right. But I was a little biased because it was Bill Murray.
Hmm.
But I love John Candy. Like I still say his best role is his planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Steve
Uh,
Martin
you know,
is funny, and I'm sure he would have been, because he's so good, he would have been fine in this movie too, but it's a different kind of humor than than like a Steve Martin type of humor. So I don't know how we'll categorize these going forwards, but I think Bill Murray
I could
just
say
being
this
himself
though.
is it. What's that?
I can say this though, as far as for planes, and it'll be for another show, but Planes, Streets, Automobile, I can only imagine how hard Steve Martin's laughing from John Candy, just doing things. He's a funny guy, He's like, he was a jokester, and that's what he did, he was still serious. But in this movie, though, yeah, he just like you said, look with the mud wrestling, he goes and he's like, "You're agreeing with fashion." He's like, and then he basically does like the which one called is that one of the Three Stooges that I forget if it was Larry, where he
Yeah.
just rubs his yeah, he
Yeah,
just hits his
he's
head.
doing the Three Stooges thing, which is always funny.
Starts hitting his head. He's like, yeah, he's like, he runs in there and there's like it's just funny because they thought they're punching and kicking him, making fun of him, and he just rips off their bikini tops. Like, yeah, and they're all mad.
It's a nice little bonding exercise. Today I guess it's all about trust falls and passing torches around, or I don't know, some crap like that they do. It's just ridiculous. Yeah,
Well,
nothing like, huh?
apparently that was frowned upon back then because the cops came in and arrested all of them.
It's just probably a health ordinance violation. I don't know. Maybe there's bacteria in the mud or something. I don't know. Yeah, so I mean, that's one of the things, doctor. I mean, you're the health expert on the show, allegedly. I mean, you're supposedly credentialed. That's what the doctor part means, and why you mostly work on farm animals and that kind of stuff. I mean,
Farm animals.
well,
Hey! I'm not into that stuff.
you're not into it,
Maybe
but
other
you
doc.
work on it. So there is a difference between being in it and working on it. So, any particular health type of doctory lessons that the audience could learn from you from watching this movie?
Always self medicate. It's the best thing to do. You do what you do. If you take too much, then you take too much. Just don't give it out to the people.
Well, that kind of reminds me of Dirty Harry, and that I think the best piece of advice any human being, male or female, could, of course, learn would be, that a person has to know their own limitations. So if your
Exactly.
prescription of liquid medication only is what you're suggesting here, then I think you have to know whether it's a beer goggles or not, if it's, a 4 beer night or a 2 beer night, or I don't, just give me the hard liquor, start pounding it, that's fine. But, the last thing I'll say about this as we finish up is for me, I've got a brother that when we were growing up, we'd have to split time on the TV because we only had the one in the main living room at the time. So I'd get to watch it, or he'd get to watch it, or my parents would be watching. So this is one of those few movies that would come on where we're at that age where we'd want to watch our own stuff, where he'd be like, "Hey, Stripes is on. You want to watch it because it's Bill Murray?" And so whenever a Bill Murray movie came on, we were watching it. And then for E and I, when we were growing up as kids, it was always like that with John Candy or something like that. We would talk about like Going Bananas, or Who's Harry Crumb, or this movie, or others with John Candy and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, one of his all-time favorites. So yeah, it was just one of those things where it's just good enough, but it's one of those movies that sometimes when you watch it with somebody else, it's just funnier because the other person's in a good mood, you're in a good mood, and so yeah, definitely a fun movie. What about you? What about your final thoughts, sir?
Final thoughts. Never drink cough medicine before you start behind the wheel.
Okay, I don't know why that's good advice, but I'm sure because you're a
Well,
doctor, it is
it
good
goes it goes
advice.
it goes back to the cab part, dude, in the beginning.
That's was the inside joke that people are supposed to know if they haven't watched it. They can go back and watch that scene.
Come on. It's,
um,
I mean, it's not the speed so really much. It's I just wish I hadn't drunk all that cough syrup this morning.
the only thing missing from this movie would have been, well, from what you talked about before when you talked about Animal House, Dean Wormer, the zero point 0.0 guy. So let's give us a moment of silence so we can actually hear from him now, because he's actually calling me on the Xtreme Movie Phone cell phone line. Let me plug this in here at the Pinehills Palace. One moment, please.
0.0.
Yes, I got that. Thank you very much, Dean Warmer. zero point 0.0. Okay, guys. Thank you for showing up. We're going to drop off now. We're going to get set up here for 8 o'clock here in a little bit, and it's going to be a surprise, and it's probably going to be an E-free evening. Get it? You get it, Doctor?
Yeah.
He's not getting it because he's not here.
And sir, where's your drill sergeant? Hold up, sir.
Thank you, sir. May I have another different movie? All right,
That's a fact,
Jay,
Jack.
Eric, Mr. Fly, may I call you that? Maverick, hey there. We'll be on here shortly with a new stream for the new evening, for the new show. All right, guys, bang, good night. And as always, stay extreme, Doctor.
Please do stay extreme.
Toodles.
Laters.